I think one of the number one things that people worry about with smaller centers in the NHL is whether they can handle the grind of the National Hockey League. And this is just a fact, man. When you look at small centers, it is just harder for small centers to play that down the middle. Like, there are some guys that do it successfully, Braden Point, and Marco Rossi's another guy that's smaller and, plays some center, and he's a center, but when you get a smaller center, you just really expect him to be a winger, to be honest with you. But when we look at the draft, there actually may be one available at 6 and another player at 3 that match up with both Vancouver and Calgary, and we were shown that today. Welcome back to Pixel Plus Hockey. If you could make sure to hit that subscribe button, it'd be so greatly appreciated. And thank you so much to those that are already supporting me as well. It is very humbling. But honestly, it would be better if we had Gavin McKenna in these games. It would give us a better view of gauging the players out on the ice, man, because I actually am starting to think that the top maybe 7 or 8 is a lot tighter in terms of talent. But I mean, Viggo Björck is looking good to me. Now, I know that we don't want to get too carried away with a tournament, but the way that this player looks out on the ice isn't all about skill. It's about battle level, and it's so frigging impressive. Let's take a look at this quote from Thomas Drance, and I could not agree more with this. Viggo Björck winning puck battles against NHL players and holding his own in the circle against Ryan freaking Riley at 18 because he's 5'9.5". However, as per NHL tradition, the third best player in the class will be available in the teens, just test driving this take, close quote. Now, I'm not really sure if he's going to be the absolute third best. I don't know if I would go that high like Drance would, but like, man, there is a team that I think is going to steal Björck. I really, really am starting to like this kid more and more when I watch more tape of him and I watch him in this game. But it is just true that size affects things in the NHL. Now, to be fair, size should affect things. Size still matters in the NHL, and to some degree it always will. When it comes to puck battles and stuff like that, you do have an advantage over smaller players, and you do have an advantage if you have a bigger guy with higher battle level. But listen, man, I'll take a smaller guy with a high level of, grunt and grit. It doesn't matter. I'll take that guy over the bigger guy that is soft and can't win battles on the boards. I thought he looked excellent against Canada today. And then when we talk about Ivar Stenberg, this is another player that Sweden has that, I think he could very well go third. I'm very skeptical as to whether he'll fall past third. Actually, you know what? Question of the video. Do you guys think that he'll fall past third? I don't think so. I just think he's just too good. The more and more I watch this kid play, I think he's like the winger form of like Leo Carlsson or something like that. Like Leo Carlsson's a really good, bigger player, although Stenberg is maybe 5'11". He's smaller. But just the way he plays reminds me so much of a Carlsson. Let's not forget Leo Carlsson with a 67.29 goal season for Anaheim. This is a player that matches up to that skill set. Man, if you can even get 80% of what Carlsson is in Stenberg, that would be unbelievable. He might even be better than Carlsson. It's interesting, though, when we talk about Björck, you could have a potential bigger steal in Björck because I think that people are underrating him because of his size and because of the season that he had. And you look at him play, and I just keep on looking back at Viggo Björck and thinking that, man, this kid is going to be an absolute steal. Let's remind ourselves about Björck in general here. Now, in the Swedish Elite League, he got 15 points in 42 games. In junior, again, above a point per game, 5 points in 4 games in 25-26. Interestingly enough, last year in 24-25, he exploded in juniors. He had 74 points in 42 games. Like, man, this is a player that not only does he have work ethic, he can play center, he can win battles, and he seems to have a high level of talent. It's going to be interesting as how he develops in the Swedish Elite League. I wonder what he's actually going to do next year. Will he play in the AHL, where, I doubt he'll make the NHL, although whatever team he goes to, let's say Calgary does pick him, man, I think Calgary makes a lot of sense for Björck. Okay, so I got another really interesting question here. Let's say it goes like this. You have Gavin McKenna, Chase Reed, Ivar Stenberg, Caleb Malhotra, and then you got Carson Karls, and then you have two players for the Calgary Flames. You have Keaton Vierhoff, which is an option for him. He's darn good too. And then you have Viggo Björck at 5'9". Who do you take there? Honestly, man, this is going to be a pretty difficult decision for the Flames. I know there's going to be Flames fans that are going to jump in the comments and say, you take Bjork 100%. I'm a little bit worried. I think Vierhoff is going to be really, really good, even though Bjork looked hella good tonight. And honestly, man, I do think Calgary really needs an impact forward. I'm not exactly sure how high level he'll be. Obviously, we're looking at him play, but man, I do think that this kid has potential steal written all over him, where essentially he's going to be like a 7th overall pick that we look back and be like, man, this guy could have went 3rd or something like that, or he could have went 2nd. Maybe not necessarily 1st, but he could have gone 2nd or 3rd, and that is elite value at the draft. When we shift back over to Ivar Stenberg, the one thing that I noticed is how dangerous he looked. And Canada is a loaded team. This is why this game was really interesting to me. Now, you could make the argument that maybe the NHL players from Canada weren't going as hard as they should have in that game. I don't really know if that's true. I'm just like speculating here. But to me, Stenberg looked super, super dangerous in that game to me. And I'm like, man, if he can play that good against a Canadian team, I totally understand why some people are saying this kid could potentially go number 1 overall, and honestly, I get it. Now, I will admit that when it comes to Ivar Stenberg, I do think that he is much more of a sure thing than Viggo Björck. That's what I will say. And I think Björck is going to be a really good NHLer. It's just very hard to project because of his Elite League numbers, and then what Ivar Stenberg did in the SHL was really, really, really unbelievable, and pretty much exactly what the Sedins did. And this is what's given me so much pause about Stenberg. Honestly, when it comes to Vancouver, I think that they could definitely get him at number 3. Like, the more and more I think about it, I think that San Jose is absolutely going to go for a defenseman. There are some rumblings that even Keaton Vierhoff could go 2nd overall. There's so many defensemen that can go up or down, and there's going to be a lot of defensemen that drop as well. So, like, if teams are looking for forwards and not defensemen, because defensemen, take longer to develop, there's going to be some good defensemen that may fall in the draft as well. That's going to be another interesting thing to watch. Like, if for example, if Calgary in that situation were to have drafted Viggo Björck at number 6 that I gave you guys, that means Keaton Vierhoff would drop to 7th overall. Like, like there's a team that's going to get him 7th overall. At the start of the season, we would have never thought that. And the season he had in the NCAA at 17 years old was frankly just unfreaking believable. So there's going to be a lot of happy teams in the top 8, in my opinion. Anyways, guys, I'm going to leave this video here. If you can make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it, guys. And make sure to have a great day. Goodbye, guys.